Yes, I'm Nate Soule. I'm with RTX BBN Technologies, and I'm going to be talking about TAC CAD, which is work AFRL is funding and guiding in collaboration with Kevin Dilworth and his team at the 88th. But really, the collaboration goes a lot broader than that to touch on a whole host of civilian public safety organizations, FirstNet, and other folks that all have a kind of a vested interest in seeing CAD and TAC come together. So here, in this case, for anybody who might be in the wrong room, CAD is computer-aided dispatch and not design. So we're talking dispatch centers, first responders, and making that all come together in TAC. So just a quick agenda for the talk here. I'll give an overview of what TAC CAD is all about, what our goals are, what it looks like at a high level. And then we'll look at it from three different perspectives. One from the dispatcher's perspective, then from the responder's perspective, because the tools provide capabilities for both, and then from an analyst perspective, which is a little bit more future-looking here. While there is a working version of this tool for dispatchers and responders, the analyst piece is still coming. And then we'll talk about timeline and next steps and how you can get involved if you're interested in doing so. All right, so big picture. As I mentioned, this tool has capabilities for both the dispatchers and the responders or defenders, and I might mix the terminology here a little bit there between defender and responder. This is being funded by the Air Force, and so the primary user group that we're looking at is Air Force Security Forces. But that said, everything we're building, we think, is applicable to the civilian public safety domain, and everything is government unlimited rights, so everything we're talking about here is free to pick up and use for folks. So from the highest level here, this tool can operate in kind of two modes. One, it can be your standalone CAD solution. So if you don't have a CAD at all, or you have one and you don't like it, TAC CAD can serve that role. But we know there's lots of folks out there that already have commercial CAD solutions that they either like or are tied to for any of a number of reasons, but they want to bridge those into the TAC world, and TAC CAD can play that role as well, connecting your existing CAD solutions into TAC. So we'll see in a minute capabilities for dispatchers, which really means folks in operations centers or 911 dispatch centers that are sitting at a WinTAC device and entering new incident information as it comes in from emergency calls or importing from other systems, and then doing things like assigning personnel to the incident, assigning assets, and getting situational awareness of those responders as they begin to respond. Then we'll look at the capabilities for the responders, which is the ability to receive tasking or asking orders. So the terminology I'm using here is in some cases you're being tasked, go respond to this incident. In some cases you're being asked, can you respond to it? Are you available? Can you respond to this incident? And anyone who can will. And the tool supports both. Then providing an ETA from your location to the scene, and then providing routing and navigation guidance through ATAC's built-in capabilities there, and providing incident info, so prior incidents at this address, dropping into Google Street View to see what it looks like, the scene that you're about to drive into, and then finally capabilities for analysts to be able to export any of the data that's collected, look at stats, summaries, trends, because with TAC CAD, not only do you have all that information about the incidents, their types and their frequencies and things like that, you have the turn-by-turn, moment-by-moment position information from all the responders who are using ATAC. And so you've got a wealth of information to understand how you're doing and how you can do better in the future. So starting from that dispatcher perspective, as I mentioned, the tool can be used as a standalone CAD tool that doesn't require anything other than TAC, or it can be used in conjunction with an existing tool. And so here, that's why we've broken it down into two pieces. So you can go in and you can create a new incident. You know, as a phone call comes in, I'm a 911 dispatcher, I get the call, I start to enter information about the who and the when and the where and the what into the form. You're seeing this shown in WinTAC up on the right-hand side of the screen. And the goal here is to make it as easy as possible, right? Auto lookup of addresses, auto completion of the time that this is all entered, that the call was received, of the dispatcher and their call sign or their name, and allow you to fill out all of that information and then bring it into the rest of the system, which we'll see in a moment. Or if you're using another CAD solution, to import that data into TAC CAD as if it was manually entered here, but pull it from an API from some other system. So the system that we built integration with to start is called Active 911, that is being used in some cases on the Air Force side and in some cases on the civilian side. And we've got some integration to pull their data, and actually at the moment to push data to Active 911 from TAC CAD. So I talk a lot about importing here, but export is also a possibility. So you enter the data in TAC CAD and then you push it out to your other systems. All right. So again, continuing on with the dispatcher perspective, there's a screen that lets you see all of the current active incidents, and you can also jump back into your past incidents, see location, and jump to them on the WinTAC map, or jump into them to see and edit the details. You can manage your personnel and your fleet, so what vehicles you've got available to you, entering new ones, entering users, entering new vehicles, and then they become available to be assigned. You can enter vehicles by type and give them call signs just like you would personnel. And then you can take, as a dispatcher, as you're entering in a new incident, you can then go and assign personnel or vehicles from those inventories. And so I can just tap to add, Bob to the incident, or to add ladder truck 7, or whatever it might be. And as soon as you add them, then we'll show this in a minute, but the ATAC with the first responder will get a pop-up that says, hey Bob, there's an incident, here's the details, here's the location, are you able to respond? And if you hit yes, they'll be added to the incident. Right now, to assign a human user to a vehicle is something that either a dispatcher can do here in the tool, or an ATAC user, a first responder, can do from within that tool by selecting the user's the vehicle name and just tapping assign. One of the things that we're going to be doing in the next release of this is adding NFC support, so that if you have a 25-cent NFC sticker on the side of your vehicle, as I get into the vehicle, I just tap my phone to it, and now my call sign from my ATAC device is associated with that particular vehicle, and the system can track you as a unit. The other piece here is what we're calling the know before you go features. So this is providing as much information as possible to both the dispatchers and the responders about the scene that they're heading towards. So TAC out of the box is going to give you satellite imagery and street maps, but what we've been able to pull in is things like Street View, which you see up on the screen here, and I can pan and rotate around so that I can get an understanding of really what I'm going into. But also address incident history, so that there were prior disturbances at this location, 6 of them in the past 9 months, and again have just a better awareness of the situation I'm walking into. Now, I mentioned external system integration for both importing and exporting, so pulling data into TAC CAD and pushing data out from TAC CAD to other solutions. And really, the goal for both this period where we're doing a lot of testing and for operational use is to make sure people aren't having to enter information into 2 systems, right? They're not going to use TAC CAD if they have to enter the information there that they already entered into Active 911 or some other system. And so there is an extensible API interface for TAC CAD that lets it integrate with any system that you build an adapter for. And as I mentioned, that first system that we built an adapter for is Active 911, which will allow us to take data that was entered into Active 911 and pull it into TAC CAD as if we entered it there, and vice versa, take the data that was entered into TAC CAD and push it out to Active 911. And we've got one direction of that working already and are completing the second direction shortly. Let's see. So here's actually a view of that. So we've got active 911 on the left. If you're familiar with it, this screen will resonate with you. We've got a web screen on the kind of very far left, and then the active 911 Android app sitting in the center. And we've got TAC CAD all the way on the right. And so the data can be pushed from TAC CAD over our adapters into Active 911, which will show up on all of the responders' phones in their Active 911 app, and it will show up in this web interface. And then the direction that we're implementing now is to pull that data back from Active 911 right into TAC CAD. So from the responder, a lot of that was dispatcher focused or server focused. From the responder's perspective, they're working with an ATAC. And you see the screen here with some of that information presented on it. So out of the box, ATAC is going to give you chat and the ability to share imagery, street maps, et cetera. But now with TAC CAD, they can also get alerted to new incidents and then tap to respond. And once they do, they'll see a screen like what we see on the right-hand side here, where you've got a list of incidents, and you can center on them immediately, or you can tap into them to, actually, if I go back a screen, we'll see this a little bit more, to get some details about the site, about the type of incident. They can tap any of a number of short abbreviated codes to say, I'm responding, I've arrived, I'm available but not responding yet. And you can do things like add notes, here we see on the left-hand side, so that dispatchers or responders on the scene can enter notes about what they're seeing and how this incident is evolving over time. In the middle here, we see vehicle association. So this is where I can, from within ATAC, go and say, yes, I, Nate, am now associated with ambulance 2, and just tap a button, and now those two are connected, and the system can track us together. And then, again, on the right, viewing the full list of incidents. Even if you haven't said you are responding right at the start, you can jump into any incident at any given point in time and add yourself to it. So then I mentioned there is kind of a third perspective. If there's dispatchers and responders, the third one is the analyst perspective. This one doesn't yet exist, but is in the near-term horizon. So this is all about collecting or making use of all that data that TAC CAD is collecting and that TAC is collecting to figure out things like the average response time, or build up incident density overlays, or to see which vehicles are used most often or which personnel are called on most often, and give you those kind of insights over a set of missions so that you can start to optimize the way that you work. All right, just to wrap up here then, timeline. So everything that I've showed you so far, with the exception of that analyst view, is something that exists today. There's a WinTAC plugin, there's an ATAC plugin, and there's a TAC server plugin that provides the server-side capability in the background. That all exists and is currently kind of being alpha tested by 3 Air Force and Space Force bases and a handful of civilian public safety organizations. The good news is the next round of funding to move all of this forward looks like it's coming shortly. And when that's there, we'll be jumping back into actually addressing all of the feedback that's coming from these organizations to update the tool, to add the analyst perspective, and to add some of these other capabilities I mentioned, like the NFC tap to associate it with the vehicle. So once we get all that feedback, we'll roll it in, and then we will be looking for beta testers. If what we're doing now is alpha testing, we'll be looking for beta testers to really see if this works for your organization. We know that Air Force does this different from public safety. Public safety in one state does it different from public safety in another state. And even within a state, a lot of folks are doing things differently. And so we want to understand how this can be most useful to you. So if you have interest in participating by testing this out or providing requests for features or seeing a demo or anything else, please reach out. The more inputs we could get, the more this will work for the community. So I think that's all I've got. Happy to take questions on anything. Okay, and if not, I'll be around all week. Sorry? No, good. Okay, great. So I think we're good. Thank you, guys. I'll be around all week if you have questions or want to take this for a test drive. Thanks, Oren.